I'm starting off fresh, and I feel good. I look good. I smells good. I am good. I'm better than that. I'm calm. And this next call is going to be wonderful. I can just feel it. I'm calm. I'm calm. Good evening. Fucking genie. Kiss my ass.
Good morning, TFR.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zack. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zack, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in where you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the planet. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to The Ironworx with Zack, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
There is no scientific model of the earth. There is no scientific model of the earth.
It's Friday, my dudes.
And I think maybe I'll just sit here and play my soundboard all morning. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. As you may have guessed, it is Josh, Walt, and Zack hanging out with you this morning. And I just can't seem to be doing anything right. Morning, fellas.
Good morning.
You sound like you were having some fun with that thing.
Yeah, you know, I'm in a mood for some reason. I woke up early. Stupid storms. I like the storms except for the silly ass dog. My dog. Mm-hmm. Did you know dogs can have autism?
No.
I kind of did.
And I'm pretty sure that's what Layla's issue is. And why they don't call it pautism, I'll never know.
Oh, you see, now we've got a show title already, ladies and gentlemen.
But I'm pretty sure it's our stupid autistic dog that keeps me up at night. Because as soon as it started storming, she's just panting and standing basically over me, panting in my face. So I'm like, now I'm wide awake and I sit up and all she does is plop right down on my pillow first chance she gets. So now I've got nowhere to lay. So fuck it. I guess I'm awake at 2 a.m.
Hell, I was just getting to bed. We should have hooked up.
I know, Walter. I was going to send you a message telling you to go to bed.
Now, how do you know what time I was up? You don't know.
And if you were awake to send a message, maybe you should be in bed.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely should have been in bed. Jaren and I were working on the map. That kid is so smart. Bob and Cammy's Jaren.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. With his computer stuff, it's like, hey Jaren, we want to do this. You know, and this is not in
click.
The game. Yeah, and he's like, bloop, bloop, bloop. I erased them all yesterday, Walter. All the programs that he wrote, I erased it off the level on accident. But Jaren, dealing with morons like me, his whole, you know, computer career, had it all backed up and saved and went, oh, don't worry, bloop, bloop, bloop. And it was all back. Yeah, just such a smart young man. And it's just so fun working with somebody like that on a computer that, you know, can make anything you dream of happen on that screen. It's just pretty wild. Almost anything. But yeah, just so smart. How Bob and Cammy did it, I don't know, but man, that young man, he knows that stuff really well. But yeah, we're having fun. We're gonna have to all get together one of these nights all y'all out there that
Yeah,
played
that was
Fortnite.
my intention when I saw that you had it playable for us, that we could get in and do it. And then, like I said, Haley came by and it was all
Grand
about the
Theft
kittens.
Auto started calling. Don't lie, Walter. Don't lie.
I don't know. Did I even play that? Did I play that yesterday? I may have played it for a minute. Thursday is the new day.
12:15. That's why I was like, Walter, what are you still doing up?
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I wind down, is blowing people away. Anyway, there was one.
How are the kittens doing?
Well, I was gonna surprise everybody with noise, and they quieted down. Like before you guys got in the call with me, or before I got in the call with y'all, whatever. They were being quite vocal. When I got up, Mom was in the kitchen. Like she came into the kitchen as I was getting in there. So she's become very free roaming again. Whereas the first 2 days, she was pretty much glued to their spot.
Right
You know.
there. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So now she's, every time I turn around, she's at the water bowl or come and meet me in the kitchen. And I'm like, hey, she goes, hey. And then I say, what's going on? You hungry? And she'll tell me, yeah. And then walk back in here and I'll bring her some food. She does have Dad waiting on her hand and foot. Literally, I'll bring the bowl to where she's laying, being nursed on, and give it to her right next to her. So if she hasn't, I don't know, she's definitely glad to be home, I can tell you, for damn sure. I doubt she'll be running away anytime soon again. The pampering she's had. Who knows? She'll probably leave as soon as she's done with this bunch and get a new bunch for us.
If you don't
But
get her
we
fixed, you
definitely,
might.
no, we're going to definitely do that.
Because
That was what I was about to say. We definitely are going to
obviously.
be on the fixing path next in case this happens again, because we've definitely got way more than enough.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
What? 7's not, or 6 isn't enough?
No, that's plenty. Plenty.
Oh, how about you, Josh? How is the car finding coming along?
You know, it's slow going. I got the check from the insurance company. It's not that it's slow going. I'm just taking my time. I'm trying to be a bit methodical. And basically, it's because I don't want to get my hopes up on any one particular car. And then by the time I get ready to go buy it, somebody else has already bought it. And now I'm just disappointed because I had my hopes up. I'll keep my hopes and expectations nice and low until I can
What
actually.
Are you thinking about? Yeah, sorry for cutting you off there, but
No, it's
I just wondered, like, are you looking for something newish? Or are you looking for something?
Well, it's got to be probably newish. It's harder to get a
Yeah,
loan
with the
for something
insurance.
old.
Yeah.
So typically my search parameters are 90,000 miles or fewer, $20,000 or less. And that's about it. I'm not too terribly picky. Like, I don't want rear wheel drive. That just scares me. I'm a little heavy footed and I don't know that I could, even with the posi track rear ends and the shit they got going on these days, I'm still not sure I'd trust myself with rear wheel drive. So I'm looking front wheel, even all wheel, but you know, again, I'm not terribly picky. The few things I have seen that I liked, oddly, have all been white, which is kind of unusual. Not all, but like 90%. And they've all been relatively good. There's a Kia Optima that's pretty nice. And I was looking at a Volkswagen, like a Passat, but I don't know. That high precision German engineering on those Volkswagens may not withstand me. And I don't know. I'm just not necessarily the easiest on cars, but I don't know. I really don't know. There's a couple Mazdas, SUVs that look okay. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not picky when it comes to cars. It's really just a way to get from point A to point B.
Yeah. That's how I am as well.
I just got to make sure it's got to get, when my point B is going to be Southern Louisiana, I just got to make sure it's going to get me there.
Absolutely.
And back. Add that caveat as well.
Well, yeah, you always want to be able
Oh
to.
yeah, always part of the drill. Hopefully. So, taking a left real quick as I'm coming on to the computer here and getting everything open and getting screens up I need for the show. I pop up the rock fin. Haven't gotten there yet though, and I don't know if you pushed the button yet because that's what this is not about. If you haven't, please do so. But okay, so new stuff is happening for me at Rockfin. When I opened it this time, there was a big banner at the top advertising a show, which is a new thing for me. I've never seen that happening. Oops, I hit my mic, sorry. I've never seen that happening with Rockfin. That's a new thing. They're presenting a show. They're obviously either getting paid to push or are pushing because they're liking the show and what it's doing or the numbers it's grabbing or something. And so I, as I said, open it up and the show is there pushing this show that is now available on Rockfin. Maybe they just got it on Rockfin. I don't know. But it's called Conspiracy Social Club. Now, a few things immediately hit me. Number one, Conspiracy Social Club. Well, gee, who's been doing that kind of shit for the last 8 years? And yeah, they're pushing it. Number two. So that means it's definitely making somebody some money somewhere. So that means it's, hey, people are paying attention. That's a cool thing. My second or fifth thought was, I guess somebody's kind of starting to get the idea that the Bruniverse Bunker thing is doing really good because there's a comedian talking about interesting topics, some conspiracy related ones. Well, here's a comedian I see on this banner. And it's Brian Callen Brian Callum, I think that's his name, from back in the day from Mad TV. That's where I know him from. And I've seen him do stand up a few different times. And I'm like,
Oh,
really?
I don't mean to interrupt, Walter. Which one is Brian Callum? Is he the tall, skinny one or the heavyset one?
He's the skinny, tall guy.
The one that was
Yeah.
Stewart?
No. Even further back, OG Mad TV, before Stewart was even a thought.
Wow.
Like the first seasons. Yeah, first seasons. Brian Callen. Yeah, go look him up. As soon as you see him, you'll know who he is from the first days. To me, he was one of the better ones. Him and the guy I'm thinking about is that you might be talking about is Artie Lang. That's the other guy.
Okay, Brian Callen. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, okay. So here's a comedy guy doing conspiracy stuff. Okay, so another little bullet point. But then I kind of glanced at the other face and I'm like, wait, I don't know that face. So I just go look it up. That's Sam Tripoli he's doing this show with.
Yep.
I didn't know. I'm so playing catch up here. So yeah, all these things just kind of broke my brain going into the Rockfin this morning. All kinds of things. So shout out, go ahead, and I'm going to be checking it out. Well, there's a few here that aren't premium that I'll be able to check out. But anyway, yeah, just interesting that all of that right there.
David Weiss did predict that this year was going to be a big year, that you're going to see a lot more, people that are somewhat known and well known start talking about this openly this year. Not, complaining, but where you guys been?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I
8 years now.
getting on there for the 8 years
Yeah,
now.
I understand though. I mean, it took somebody like my brother 7 years, and he's not as conspiracy oriented, but he's a bright guy. It took him 7 years to finally, so it's not just about intelligence making this leap. There's a big part of it that has a lot to do with, the fear of it all, the ridicule, the, social stigmatism that you get put on you for walking around with "I'm a flat earther" on my shirt. Now, one thing though, I've never had anybody say anything to me. There might have been a couple looks here and there, a snicker or a laugh, but nobody's ever come up and said anything to me. Probably because I'm always smiling. I don't know. Do you have any flat Earth apparel? Josh or Walter?
Do I? I
Yeah.
do, yeah. I've got about 3 or 4 of the Iron Rim shirts. Is that correct? 3 of them. 4 of them. 3 or 4 of them. I've got 2 different ones that I was given from relatives or from Shell from Christmases. Is there a hat somewhere in the mix that I don't ever wear? It seems like there's a hat that I don't ever wear, maybe. I don't wear hats anymore. I just don't. But maybe there's a hat somewhere that is in the mix. So that's about it. Every time I decide I want to go get a shirt from someone whose channel I like and dig on, either the one I want's not in or isn't available any longer, or it's some situation. I can't remember. There was something decision, probably usually is trying to decide which one to get. I went over to Alice Michael's stuff the day he was on Jim's site and had like 3 shirts. I'm like, this is the one. No, wait. Okay, now that's the one. No, let me get this one. So I get them all, I guess. Anyway, but definitely we should probably go in and refresh our little T-shirt ideas and take them elsewhere. We keep threatening to do that, just haven't moved along yet. Or I haven't done it anyway. You may have a new site you're playing with, but I'm still, or the last one I did was over there at, hell, I don't even know what it's called anymore. Teespring? Is that where we started that madness?
It's now just spring, but yeah.
Tells you how long it's been since I made a shirt over there. I have it bookmarked at the top there, and I just click on the little icon, which, yeah, now that you say that, is a spring. It says online T-shirt design on my bookmark. So
I did make a T-shirt not too terribly long ago. Design one over there. That level design.
Nice.
So I just found this one.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm kind of going to play catch up in chat, and I saw Andrew saying he's got some space letters to share today. So just give us a call when you can, there, friend. Sorry, go ahead, Zach. Now you share.
And are you going over some space letters now, Zach?
It's more of a conspiracy crouton than space lettuce, I'd say.
Gotcha.
I like it.
It's staying down to earth for the most part. More inner earth, not the innermost inner core. We're not going that deep. Or the inner core. Or the core.
Core?
It's in there. Yeah, a massive ocean discovered beneath the Earth's crust.
Again, another one?
More water than on the surface now. Yeah.
Of course.
It feels like there have been staggering science stories emerging every other day recently, all of which have blown our tiny little minds. Speak for yourself. First, there was a terrifying discovery of a black hole pointing right at us. Then there was a huge hole found in the sun. And a missing continent found after going missing for 375 years.
Now, wait a minute.
Whoa, hold up now.
Are black holes unidirectional?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wouldn't a black hole be omnidirectional?
Yeah, you would think so.
Because isn't that how like atmosphere and shit works according to their model? It's omnidirectional. That's why we're
pulled towards the center.
Right.
Yeah.
So
gravity works different in this article.
Gotcha. Now it's pointing.
When did we discover a new continent that was lost? I'm missing that story.
It's not. It's New Zealand.
Oh.
But there was there's these old maps, right, that show a much larger New Zealand. Well, yeah, if you go before the flood happens, and they went and did the mountainous area underwater around New Zealand, and they found out that, hey, if we lower the water level, this looks just like the landmass that's on all these old maps. But they're saying that New Zealand sank or something like that. Not that the water.
Is that where we've been missing our friend? Oh, these people.
Turns out there's a huge supply of water 400 miles underground stored in rock known as ringwoodite.
So it didn't come from on a little rock floating through space. They found it under the crust.
Hmm?
Cool.
Scientists previously discovered that water is stored inside mantle rock like a sponge. Sponge-like state which isn't a liquid, solid, or gas, but instead a fourth state. What? When did they discover this? Since most people here should know, deepest hole isn't even 8 miles deep. How do they know it's down 400? And when they did all their ground penetrating radar digging this 8-mile hole,
I thought
they
it was
were
12
wrong.
miles.
No,
8
12
kilometers.
kilometers.
12 kilometers, 8 miles. Okay, I got it backwards. God darn it.
It's early. We'll let you slide. But yeah, and when they were digging that 8-mile hole, which took them like almost 30 years to dig, they spent, I think, 12 years of it just trying to dig the last like few hundred meters because they couldn't get through it. But yeah, they were wrong the whole time. They said, "Oh, we're not going to hit any more water." They found water. "Oh, we're not going to hit any more rock." They hit rock. Yeah, they were wrong the whole way. So that was at 8 miles. How did they know it's 400 miles down? I mean, come on. Then they're telling us how this mineral, what it can contain and its physical properties. They've never touched this stuff. They've never seen it.
Right, but if you send radar down through the ground, Zach, you first have to, you go, okay, I got radar and we'll send it to the ground. First, you assume it's a ball. Then, when those waves do what they do, assuming it's a ball, you can extrapolate all kind of fun facts and figures. And if you can look at a pixel on a screen and tell me there's fucking methane on a planet shitting stars 80 quadrillion billion light years away from me, I'm sure you can point a bouncy beam at the ground and tell me there's whatever the fuck they're saying is down there.
So they're saying if this ringwoodite contained just 1% water, it would mean that there is 3 times
Wait,
more.
I thought we just found the fucking water of the end of the days, solved all our water problems right here, and suddenly it turned into if water.
Yeah, the very last paragraph starts with the word if. If the rock contained just 1%, there would be 3 times more water under the surface of Earth than there is in the oceans on the surface.
What about all the oceans and all the solar systems and all the exoplanets on
Can't make this stuff up. Well, actually, you can. They do. They absolutely do. So is this, I don't know, this isn't part of the mantle. This isn't part of the outer whatever. So we have the crust, the mantle, the core, the inner core, and the innermost core. Now we have, so is this 6 rings now? Ringwoodite? Would that be another one?
Yeah, I guess.
That's just ridiculous. Well, we only got a couple minutes, so I'm not going to get into the next one. Are we going to hear breaks today?
I doubt it. I don't think there's even a real station. Oh, there is? Okay, never mind.
That long, extended, prolonged silence at the beginning was where the intro music was supposed to be, so I'm kind of banking on not having breaks today. Although, I did see a message I think Chris was made aware, so he may have fixed it. Or he may have not.
Or maybe he didn't. Yeah, there's that, possibly.
Oh, man.
I got sidetracked. Sorry, I was pulling up the site someone recommended there in the chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I am over at, well, we don't need to tell everybody what we're doing.
Okay. So archaeologists studying
Nuba, by the way, sorry, is the one who recommended. I apologize. I'm stepping on you, Zach. I'm trying to get my computer acting right. I'm going back and forth, and stuff is hanging up on me.
This is from ArtNet News. Archaeologists studying an enigmatic stone structure in the Saudi Arabian desert have turned up evidence of Neolithic culture belief or cultic belief. 260 fragments of animal bones have been found at the monument. So they're cultic. What does cultic mean? That's like occult is to hide. What is cultic?
Of or having to do with a cult, I would think.
So, okay, so say something happens. We get bombed back to the Stone Age, blah, blah, blah. Cities are wiped in rubble and this and that. And I mean, we kill all kinds of animals. I'm sure the butcher has, one of those butcher shops, like a big one with lots of people working. I'm sure there's all kinds of animal bones out there. Why do they always go straight to this? Oh, they were cult. They were killing all these things and blah blah blah, and just it was like a cult. Well, look at here's their altar. Well, the butcher cuts on a table. He doesn't cut on the ground. It's just I don't know why people always go to this. That everybody was evil, or that's like their first thought in their head is, oh, they had to be evil. Look at all these bones sitting here. Well, what if that was the butcher of, a big area? I'm just saying. Because all they're saying is, yeah, we found this goats and gazelles and these bones and blah, 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 blah. And it's because these stones are standing this way. So we know that these people were horrible and they did these evil, wicked. I don't get it. Ritual control. Okay. A large part of northern Arabia was marked by similar cultic belief and ritual construction, as well as pilgrimage activity, a more connected landscape than was usual for this period. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Yeah, that place really intrigues me. Saudi Arabia. I mean, that desert that they have in the southern end of, I don't know if it's still, if that's considered Saudi Arabia. I don't know the countries over there and all the lines all that well. But that huge desert they have in the southern end, there's all kinds of these crazy anomaly things out there that are like huge monolithic structures that are miles long out there in the desert. Archaeologists have pretty much, it's been blackballed like the stuff over in the Grand Canyon that was supposedly found, 120 years ago or whatever, 110 years ago, 15 years ago. It's like there's certain people that know about it, but they don't get, the ability to tell other people about it. National Geographic isn't covering their stories. I think there's a lot out in that desert. Just evidence of an old civilization, advanced old civilization. Well, it looks like we've been joined. Mr. Andrew B.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen. Ladies and
Good
gentlemen.
morning.
How are you doing, sir?
I am doing very wonderful. It's my day off, so I am
Nice.
up early, or actually up very late. I was going to just chime in for a little bit here and share a little bit of space lettuce that I came across, if you guys don't mind.
Absolutely. We love some
Please
space
do,
lettuce.
sir.
Heck yeah. Actually, let me just cue this up real quick before you get into it, just because, damn it, that's why I've got it.
Let's look at space letters. Let's look at space letters. Let's look at space letters and have ourselves a laugh.
Production value, ladies and gentlemen. Production value.
That's awesome. Who did that?
AI.
No kidding.
Yep, that's a completely AI song. I
Wow.
provided the lyrics, but they timed it and made the music and the singing and all that stuff.
That's getting creepy.
It's the robots, don't you know?
So I was doing a little bit of research as I was just, trying to write these trivia questions a lot more, and I was just wondering about the information about the Roadster in space. The Tesla Roadster that was, obviously bullshit, but
Wait, they put a car in space? What the fuck did I miss? I'm kidding. Go.
So, a little bit of trivia, if you guys want to have a quick one. What is the name of the mannequin that was inside of the car?
David
Major
Bowie.
Tom?
No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say Major Tom. I'm not sure. Was it XJ79? What's Elon's favorite?
Senior.
I can't remember his name.
It's Starman.
Starman.
That's what I said. Starman.
Oh, okay. Anyways, so I was researching it, and I thought that when they allegedly launched that into fake space, that it was going into orbit with Earth. But apparently, that's not true.
No, he tried to send it to Mars.
Oh,
but
no, it's going to Mars, don't you know? But yeah.
Oh, I feel like an idiot for not knowing that, because that was like back in 2020. They said it was going to be passing by Mars.
Yeah, they missed it, though. It was supposed to go into orbit around Mars. So they could, plan
Well, they got to practice for those, for those shots. They got to narrow it down. You just pull and you shoot,
So as I've done more research on this, there's an actual website called whereisroadster.com. And it gives you an up-to-date, minute or second by second average of how far away it is from Earth. And it's updating right now as I'm looking at it. And apparently that car is traveling at 7,242 miles per hour.
That's a fast car.
I got a fast car. I'm going to shoot it up into outer space. People going to believe the bullshit.
So there's an actual fucking website about this. But then as I dive a little bit deeper into the whole space nonsense, I found something else recently that happened 4 days ago. It's on space.com, which obviously is factual information. So apparently black holes may be swallowing invisible matter that slows the movement of stars.
Oh, that's what's happening. That's the headline. Invisible matter.
And yeah, just going. Oh, it's so stupid. It looks like something that like a child would just do on accident.
I wouldn't doubt if that's how a lot of these so-called scientists make their discoveries. They look at some of their kids' drawings and they're like, "Hey, look, they drew a big ocean underneath in the inside of the." Yeah, let's just tell people that it's down there.
Oh, look, there's Lucy, and she's in the sky with some diamonds. That's a really interesting drawing, Julian.
How the Beatles did it. Allegedly.
Also, allegedly, the largest black hole ever discovered can fit 30 billion suns. We found it with gravity and bent light. That's the title of it.
Allegedly.
It
looks like the bottom of a dirty, shower drain.
Yeah, they do this stuff. So I've been making this stuff. That's why I want to know where all the money's really going. I mean, I know the money's probably not even really there. It's, tax money, this and that, blah, 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 whatever. But where is all the money going for the stuff they say they're doing? Is there ever really any money there? I mean, what is NASA doing with
Oh, the money's there, and it's going in a lot of pockets.
75 million a day? That's just insane. And we get the bottom of drain holes as our pictures of space, or the bottom of a frying pan as a new planet we found. Just throw a circular black, cutout over it, and there you go. You got your planet. It's crazy to think of how simple it is to make people believe that you went to space. You know why? Because they told us this story when we were children. It's like Santa Claus for adults, though. Too, not just children.
That's
I
right.
had
Because it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, yeah.
That's enough.
I mean, why would they lie? It's like, well, why do you lie to your kids about Santa?
Lies are way more powerful than the truth, because a lie can be bent in any direction it needs to go, but the truth has only one direction. Therefore, lies actually have value, and the truth seems to steer people towards the truth.
Yeah, I think it's not that it has more value, I think, because of course the truth is really more valuable, but lies are easier. Like you said, you can bend a lie in any direction you want. You don't have to stay on the line. But yeah, telling the truth, you might not want to tell the truth. Or you may not want to accept the truth for whatever reason.
Yeah, I got a question for you guys too. Do you guys ever watch that one video? It's more of an audio recording of the guy that calls up NASA and gets a hold of the director or something like that of the Hubble Space Telescope?
Yeah, that's Robert Bassano, Project Veritas.
Oh, that's him. Okay.
Yeah. Great interview that he did with that guy. The guy pretty much admitted that the Hubble should be at the bottom of the ocean right now, according to their data and how it's controlled and this and that and all that stuff. Robert got him to admit that the Hubble should be at the bottom of the ocean right now. And this is the guy who runs Hubble. Got him to admit that this guy has never seen a live feed or a picture from Hubble that hasn't gone through all the channels first. Like all the other people get a hold of it first. And this is the guy the head of the Hubble telescope. The program
he also
director.
admitted he didn't even know where it was. They couldn't even locate it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That was did that guy resign after that phone call? I mean, he should have.
Well, it makes you realize that how compartmentalized these people are, and that they're not all lying. Some of them just don't know and never really thought about it, probably. I mean, how many times have we heard, oh, yeah, the simulation, it was just like our simulations that we ran. There was no difference. Like, well, yeah, because it was a simulation as well. And is it really the best and brightest at NASA? Look at some of these astronauts talk. And are these the best and brightest that our military have to offer? Or are these people that'll go along and play along and part of the family and this and that? So now let's move it along to the scientists. What have we gotten from NASA as far as great inventions? Air filters,
That's actually a good trivia question. I'm going to look up right now. How many things has NASA invented?
Yeah. And most of them, if you actually do some real research on it, you'll find didn't really come from NASA. A lot of the stuff they claim that they did. So do we have the best and brightest scientists even at NASA? I don't think so. Would you hire a bunch of super smart people to then try to fool? I mean, yeah, they keep it compartmentalized and all really well, but still, I don't think the best and brightest go to NASA.
You know, I've never looked it up, Zach, but now that you're speaking about that, have you ever gone and looked for like a NASA application, like for a job opening or something, and see what the qualifications and requirements are?
No, the only government I ever did that was CIA.
Oh, okay. NASA job openings.
The CIA one was weird. I looked at it.
Yeah, there you go, Andrew. Get us all a job.
Yeah, the CIA website had an application page. I didn't fill it out or anything, but I was just looking at the page, and it had these weird flashing colors at the top that were flashing on numbers. Then it had a group of numbers on the right, and they were flashing in a different order than the numbers. So I hit the numbers in the orders that the colors were flashing. They didn't give me like a click noise or anything. I just did it, and it took me to another page. It was weird. And then I didn't find anything on that page at all, and I just quit looking. But yeah, that was the only time I ever went to a government like application for anything, and there was like a hidden portal puzzle on it.
Well, actually, fuck NASA. I'm gonna go SpaceX jobs.
Yeah, I never ever wanted to work for the government. Ever. I mean, I wanted to be in the military, but I don't consider them part of the government.
The thing that attracts people to working for the government is job security, because you pretty much have to be a retard not to get hired there. And then there's also the pension plan that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And then health insurance and all that kind of stuff. And also the fact that you get a lot of time off work. And you're also not really held liable for anything.
No, yeah. You're part of the club then.
Yeah, I know that for a fact, because a lot of doctors that graduate from medical school actually go and work for the VA. And those doctors don't have to pay liability insurance. So if they happen to accidentally kill a patient, they cannot, the family cannot sue the doctor. They can sue the VA, but the doctor's not held liable.
And that stuff is no joke, that the insurance for doctors like that, it's like driving a Lamborghini type insurance. It's no joke.
That's why it's almost impossible to hold them liable, because of the malpractice insurance is expensive as fuck. And then have the medical industry lobbying the politicians and the courts for tort reform. And tort is basically just your ability to hold those people liable, hold them personally liable for the mistakes they made, and being able to get that compensation, because financial is about the only way you can do it if, they cut off the wrong leg or something. But yeah, they spent years lobbying for this tort reform for doctors to make them not held liable for any of their medical malpractice.
They got their own special Pfizer court. They named the court system after the medical group that they're protecting.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Yeah, it's crazy. Next, we'll have the BlackRock court or the Vanguard court.
Hope not.
Oh.
So I'm looking at the SpaceX open positions right now.
I can't wait.
I just typed in engineer. That's all I did. and it brings up locations all around the U.S. And there's a whole lot of software engineer positions available. I mean, a lot.
I wonder why. Well, that's why we're having so much trouble getting there, because we didn't use all that garbage back in the day. We did it with elbow grease and some pneumatics and, like a Game Boy processor, not even a Game Boy processor from the 80s. But for some reason, we have all these, computer engineers and all these different programs and all this computer stuff helping us now, but we just can't seem to get there for some reason. You would think the animation would get so much better, but the US won't even try. China tried, and they showed that ridiculous nonsense that they had, and what they show that for, like a week, and then it was taken down. Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah, who's got that footage up? I know I saw it recently go by. I could probably find it through the app, I'm sure. But yeah, I was trying to show it to Shell how bad it was, and of course, couldn't find it anywhere.
Big Pine in chat said Lockheed Martin makes the spy blimp that flies here every day. I know he's in southern Florida. He thinks he may have got a picture of it yesterday. Awesome, dude.
Oh, so okay. I didn't know about this. Is this an actual mobile blimp there, Piney? The reason I'm asking is because back in the 90s, I guess here, like late 80s, early 90s, they put a series of tethered blimp-looking dirigible shaped, whatever, balloons out along the coast. We were told to help with smuggling, with drug smuggling that was going on. It was so rampant that they had to put these balloons along the coast. And they were tethered, and they weren't, it is tethered, he said. Okay. Yeah, same
Why
idea
didn't they
here
just
then.
have a satellite? Why doesn't the satellite just give us
Just
picture?
Zoom in since they can see what time your watch says. I know you would think that would be the easier solution, but no, let's tether these balloons out in the water and all that.
I used to believe that a satellite could zoom in and see a dime laying on the ground. I was so dumb.
Ian's asking, is it high enough to see the Southern Cross?
To put that into perspective, folks, the biggest lens that we've ever made, right? The biggest lens on Earth, made by humans in recent history at least. It's down in South America, or it's heading down there right now, to point towards Antarctica, mind you. But this biggest lens can see a golf ball from 15 miles.
How big is it?
Huge. I forget the actual length of the lens.
Huge.
It's enormous.
No, how big's the golf ball?
Just, I think it's like 1 3/4 inches in diameter, maybe something like that. 2 inches tops. Maybe, I don't know. Haven't held a golf ball in a while. But yeah, that's the best we can see at 15 miles. Supposedly, this lens, according to Rayleigh's criterion, radians equals 1.22 times the wavelength of light over the diameter of the aperture. That's the calculation for it. Says that this lens can resolve a golf ball at 15 miles. But we were being told that these satellites, 250 plus miles up, can make out, human beings running around on the ground and this and that and yada yada. Nonsense, folks. Nonsense. They're not from satellites 250 miles up. None of those pictures we saw in the movies from what's the one with Will Smith where he's got the NSA after him. Enemy of the State. They're showing all the satellites and then, bring the satellite around. And they show them running from rooftop to rooftop and crossing the road and this and that. Nonsense. Complete and utter nonsense. And it even looked grainy on their feed. And that was still nonsense. from that distance, no way. Optics don't work that way. Optics have physical limitations according to the size of the aperture. Period. That's it. There's no, warping of space-time here. There's no black hole, gravitational lensing, whatever you want to try to make up. No. Optics are very simple and basic. They only work one way. Yeah, that's it. They're not seeing us from a satellite. Nothing zooms in that much. Impossible. All right, sorry for my rant. Yeah, Piney's saying, yeah, you can make out the second little spy balloon that they were flying. The blimp is always there. Huh, I had no idea that we had that stuff going along the border down there.
Something else to consider when it comes to telescopes and being able to look into the sky is that a lot of people think that Galileo was the first one to actually make a telescope, which is incorrect. There was 3 other people, and it was like 100 years before him. But the magnification of his telescope, I think, was 16 times. And he claims that he was able to see.
No, not even. Galileo's was a 3-time zoom.
Okay, I've looked it up, and I've gotten different results, but you might be correct. Not trying to argue with you on that one. But I'm still saying it's the point is it's an incredibly low magnification for a piece of glass. How did they even polish it back then? With leather over and over and over and over till it got smooth? They don't have the type of lenses back then that we have today. So how the hell did they even get a clear image of these alleged moons on these different alleged planets back then? I'm starting to wonder if that's even legitimate information.
Yeah, it's saying it was 8 times, and eventually it went up to 30 times somehow. Okay. But yeah, his telescope was nothing. Not even a pair of binoculars that we use today. Have you ever seen some of the drawings of Mars that some of these astronomers have shown people?
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff.
Yeah, he said like there were giant trenches that you could see through the telescope, and it was like a upside down star, a pentagram on Mars, a big giant huge one supposedly. And then as telescopes got better, they realized that these guys weren't actually seeing any of that stuff and yada yada yada. But yeah, the stories that these people that were allowed to look through these telescopes, that normal people couldn't. Yeah, just like today, NASA saying they're going to space and doing this and the telescopes they have, but we can't see this stuff. We just have to take their word for it.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't forget they have drones there that have also located like pyramids and stuff.
Remember the face on Mars?
Oh God, what movie was that? Was it Mission to Mars or something like that?
I forget. Yeah, where they
No,
that
was real life.
Yeah, that's like real life. They're claiming that's actually there.
No, that's supposedly really there.
No, but there was a movie where they landed by that thing and they
the
door opened.
Red Planet or something. I can't remember. Really bad 90s movie. Yeah. Don Cheadle, maybe?
Don Cheadle, that's exactly right. Yep. He was like stuck there, was old or some shit. Yeah.
So, yeah, something. Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, being a ufologist, I guess. I'll say that. Actually, I really didn't. Like, by the time I kind of got out of things, actually, now that I'm thinking back on that whole deal, I had gotten out of things, had stopped looking into all that shit. It was actually a book I picked up at a library sale here downtown in Franklin. And it was, damn it. The guy that's the UFO guy, damn it, brain won't work. Hoagland, that's him. That's Richard Hoagland's claim to fame. Well, other than he, sat next to the guys when they did the rockets and all that. But yeah, that was one of his claims to fame, is the research he did. Him and this 3D imager guy, whoever from wherever. They took all the information they had gathered from the, satellite and figured out that not only is there the face, but there was all these like complicated like city layouts and as you said, the pyramids, and it was pretty crazy shit. The book itself got deep, and I got into it and really was trying to work all that out. I guess that was about 92, 93, something like that. I'm trying to remember actually when that was. It was before Quentin got here. So yeah, probably about 93. The movie, I guess, was supposed to be, based around all of that kind of crap. Who knows? I kind of think now, if it's anything, it would have been like, them sending actual balloons across the wall and looking at other lands and finding these images and these things, if it's any kind of reality to any of it whatsoever. And I've often wondered that. I mean, didn't Elon himself talk about taking to Mars and going somewhere across the plane a rocket across the plane to Mars or something? I can't remember how he said it, but it definitely implied that it wasn't going anywhere in fucking space. And that was early. That was like 2016 or something like that. That was about the time all the from the ends of the earth, or what was it, from beyond the poles, world beyond the poles, that all that info started hitting our research, and something else along that plane. Oh, that might have been about the time David and damn, what was her name? The lovely lady that she did the video about the sun coming out of the North Pole and cycling out and all that. Damn it, I cannot remember her name. I'm terrible. But anyway, all that was kind of happening all around the same time. So yeah, maybe there is a face over there across the plane under the sun that is Mars.
Never know. Here's an interesting one. This is from Science Alert. Plants really do scream out loud. We just never heard it until now. Seems like Ronald Dahl may have been onto something after all. If you hurt a plant, it screams. Not in the same way you or I might scream, rather they emit popping or clicking noises in ultrasonic frequencies outside the range of human hearing that increase when the plant becomes stressed. This, according to scientists, could be one of the ways in which plants communicate their distress to the world around them. Even in a quiet field, there are actually sounds that we don't hear, and those sounds carry information. There are animals that can hear these sounds, so there's the possibility that a lot of acoustic interaction is occurring. That's from the explains evolutionary biologist Lilac Adani of Tel Aviv University. Plants interact with insects and other animals all the time, and many of these organisms use sound for communication, so it would be very suboptimal for plants to not use sound at all. Goes on to say plants under stress aren't as passive as you might think. They undergo some pretty dramatic changes, one of the most detectable of which, to us humans at least, is the release of some pretty powerful aromas. They can also alter their color and shape. These changes can signal danger to other plants nearby, which in response boost their own defenses, or attract animals to deal with the pest that may be harming the plant. Wow.
It sounds like what you're talking about is something to do with like pheromones and like the ether, essentially. It's like a weird esoteric kind of conversation to get into, but I actually watched a documentary about a guy that was researching how plants and insects interact with each other in the Amazon jungle. It is really deep.
I've seen some crazy stuff about insects and jungle plants and the inner working and how dependent they are on each other. Well, this kind of stuff actually, I hate to tell you guys, but our good buddy L. Ron Hubbard was way ahead of the game here. I've got pictures somewhere on my computer I found not long ago going through some shit of him with his e-meter tied up to some plants, checking them out, making sure they were rid of all their Ingrams and ready to be a more powerful Thetan. So he knew they were there and were real and had some shit to say. So, but that is the noise you're hearing me play every now and again.
Yeah. The sound plants emit are like a popping or clicking noise, detectable with a radius of over a meter. So when you put these audible devices up to the plant, you can register this sound from over 3 feet away. Wow. So stress plants are much noisier, emitting an average of up to around 40 clicks per hour, depending on the species. Plants deprived of water have a noticeable sound profile as well.
That's what they're telling you when you go by and you go, damn, I wonder if that plant needs water. It is. It's telling you, hey, click, 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 motherfucker. I'm thirsty, bitch.
Pop, pop, motherfucker.
But rest assured, no less here in this story, but rest assured the bouquet of cut flowers in your vase isn't screaming at you in pain. There's no evidence that the noise produced by the plants is intentional or a form of communication. Well, what the fuck is this story talking about then?
Yeah, that just totally contradicts everything they were saying before.
Don't most of these stories do that these days?
Mm-hmm. Because they got AI writing them all and they're picking them from different stuff. Well, they might like to hear this. Let's throw some of this in there too. Sprinkle on some of this. There you go. Publish.
Oh, and somebody go grab the bubble wrap.
Yeah, I had no idea that plants made a noise like that could be recorded. So yeah,
I'm not doing that anymore. Have I broken my brain? It won't stop.
No, I heard it too. So when a tree falls in the forest, if nobody's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pop, 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 pop. All right. Probably if it falls, it goes pop.
Yeah. Bang, boom.
Oh.
Whammo.
Here's a fun one. How many actual plants or vegetation are known to exist in Antarctica?
3?
I'm not sure.
2 then.
2.
Yeah, there's a moss and a lichen or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Lichen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As far as we're told.
I dig it. I mean, I'm digging it the most, Josh. I don't know about you.
Big lichen.
Are there any plants that can grow without sunlight? Do we find plants in caves? Well, I know moss doesn't like sunlight.
I don't know. I've seen some documentaries about people that go into like really deep, like crystal caverns and stuff that are really, really far down. But I don't know if they've ever talked about any vegetations down there.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What about without water, without any moisture? Like what kind of good vegetation can you get growing in the Sahara Desert?
Probably not too much.
Not too much. Anybody know where the world's largest desert is?
Antarctica.
The region that gets less moisture than the Sahara Desert?
Yeah, where's all that snow coming from then? All those clouds. Why is it always cloudy in Antarctica if it's a desert? I think they're telling us stories about that place.
What?
Just a thought. Somebody's got some pretty sound in the back. Is that Zombie?
Yeah, that's me.
What's up, brother?
It's not just Zombie. We got a gang of people. I love this shit.
I love the birds in the background.
You know
Dude.
Hey, good morning, Zombie.
What's up, guys?
And is that Travis?
Swipe fucking flat. Go ahead. What's up, Travis?
Hello. What ho?
What ho? What is going on, gentlemen? And everybody jump first.
That's not your typical semi-truck 18-wheeler horn. That's an Uber hybrid horn now.
So whereabouts are you on the plane there, Trav?
I'm in my county right now waiting for rides. It's been a pretty slow week after Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday I kicked ass, but Wednesday was in the tank. Yesterday was okay, but today's slow.
You'll figure it out.
I just pulled into the shopping center and waiting for a ride to come along. I thought I'd jump in and say what's up.
Nice. How are you enjoying your vacation, break, retirement, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Uber's been really great. I've
heard people clean up on Uber. I've heard some people,
I've heard if you hustle, it's good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've done a little bit of both. I've taken every ride, right, just to be like, I'm just going to take everything and see what happens. And I've also, like, if you're a surfer, you know that the set of waves, they're not all worth chasing, right? So there's almost an algorithm at times where if you skip one or two rides, the third or fifth ride is going to be a higher value. So it's pretty interesting. It's almost like a video game because you have quests. You can do this many rides to make this much more extra money. But as my friend from LA who's been doing Uber for 7 years, he's like, whenever Uber throws you a bonus, it's not for you. They're getting something bigger than you are.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've heard like lawyers and stuff being Uber drivers to pay off their student loans and stuff like that quicker. So yeah, I've heard it can be quite lucrative if you're in a good area. And
yeah, I made $38 an hour Monday and Tuesday, and that's not bad.
That's pretty good.
But
I've heard that driving for Uber and Lyft is really, really profitable around like wineries and colleges. Where there's a lot of drunk people.
I could see that for sure.
Yeah, I've got University of Maryland here. I've got Johns Hopkins here. So there's plenty of there's Towson University. I haven't really spent a whole lot of time around them as a hub, but when I'm down in that area, I'll cross-pollinate with different riders and whatnot.
Now, I've never even taken an Uber. Is there like a certain area you can cover, or is it like wherever you are, Uber knows and they just...
Yeah, that's a downfall right now because my biggest dream is I can either live out of my car and do Uber, or I can find an RV that can tow my Uber, and I was just going to travel around the States and then just hop out and Uber whenever I want to. But it seems that when you change a particular state, that you have to actually resubmit for the next state to pass your background. And that could take up to a week. So you got to have a little bit of cushion if I am going to do that, which I can, but you got to have a little bit of cushion to wait. And, but what I could do is if I did that, I could just do DoorDash for small change in the meantime while I'm
between that week.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Is there any way of like knowing, hey, I'm going to be in Texas next week? Can you, without being in Texas, apply for Uber in Texas?
I know, yeah, I've thought about that. I just haven't put that ball into motion. But yeah, I've thought about those technicalities.
Yeah, because I mean, you could plan out your whole year, hey, I'm going to go see this and this and this, and the weather should be nice around this time here, and really stay ahead of it and see everything, and get paid to do it.
Fuck it. You could use it as a marketing ploy too, like attorneys that are licensed in different states.
Yeah.
We're bar attorneys in Illinois and Missouri.
I'm sure there's a way to market this. I just don't get why Uber wouldn't make it more convenient. Like it should just be easily transferable from like county to county here in Maryland, right? I don't have to do it for the county, but I have to do it for the states. But then that just doesn't make any sense, because why wouldn't you just because Uber is Uber, right? Background is background.
Yeah, you figure, okay, I'm clear in this state. Why can't this other state? But yeah, they all have their own licensing and their own DMVs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you're a private contractor right through the state for Uber. You're not technically an employee of Uber, are you?
Correct.
So it's not like, it doesn't really matter what Uber is, because you don't work technically for Uber. You're a private contractor through the state. And that's probably why it has to go from state to state.
It has to do with taxes. You got to jump through all these hoops and all this nonsense. I mean, seriously, it should be as easy as, hey, I need a ride. Hey, I have a vehicle. I can give you a ride. Here's some money. End of transaction.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. I was thinking, because I've talked to my friend who's in LA. He and I have brainstormed about this. I'm like, why don't we just start our own Uber? Because we've got these insights for what we've done. Like, we could totally just create another company and not do what Uber does. But these incentives, like, look, check this out, right? So Uber has this incentive to get out at 6 a.m. for like the next 3 hours in Baltimore, because it's high volume down there. And so then they put in surge zones, right? But what comes up on your screen is the fare that you're going to get. Say it's going to be a $6 fare, and then it says plus $1.75 surge. Now, how much do you think you're going to make on that? $6 fare plus $1.75 surge.
I mean, that sounds like $7.75, right?
It's not. It's the total.
Of course not.
It's the total. So it's the same price. It's the same price that if I go out on another day when there's no surge, I'll make the same $7.75, but there's no surge. So whatever they're doing, they're cooking the books, because they're knocking down your actually original fare. It should be $5.50 or whatever, $4.75 plus $1.75 equals 7, whatever it is. My math is off right now, but you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing, right? So like, why say plus this much? Because it's not actually plus. It's not plus tip. It's already figured into the total, which is a normal total for that area anyway.
Yeah, that's weird. It sounds like something fishy is going on in the background.
Right. So why can't we create our own app this way and not do any of those shenanigans?
Yeah. Well, No in chat says you'd have to have a nice capital to grease the legislators.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's not called bribery; it's called lobbying.
Right.
It's legal. I was taught that in like 6th grade. My history teacher was bragging to us that he was a lobbyist for some group. And he's like, they give me money and I take these people out and give them fancy dinners and hotel rooms and whatever they want. And he's like, and this is all legal.
Yeah, all you got to do is watch House of Cards and the Ozarks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then how do you get these people to vote against law? How do you get people to vote against people giving them money? And it's not like $5 here, $5. We're talking thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. They're just giving these people to vote. And it's not a bribe, because they're just paying for their time, even though we all have the ability and the right to go speak to these people. But these people pay them to really get their ear, supposedly. And then that money isn't supposed to affect their voting.
It's not supposed to sway their decision, right?
One way or another. Get the fuck out of here.
And they still want to outlaw prostitution. Like, the irony is
that's the
completely
oldest profession in the world.
That was a good rebuttal there.
Hey, prostitution is completely legal in Thailand.
Nevada too.
But I'll tell you what, I've had some great conversations with people who are conversationalists. There's some people that you're just not going to get anything out of them, and then there's some people you just can't get them to shut up. But like yesterday, I was taking this Towson University student, and she's in what is she doing? Family studies. So she said she was into family studies or whatever. So there's a lull in the conversation, and I'm thinking. I'm like, you know what? I think that the Four Agreements, the book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, should be like this must read for every parent to raise their child with those four agreements. I think that would be absolutely phenomenal. So I asked her, I said, hey, by the way, I said, have you heard of the Four Agreements? She said, I'm ordering it right now on Amazon. I'm like, I said, you just pulled it up on Amazon. You're looking up the Four Agreements right now. And she said, yeah. And I said, and I just happened to mention it. She said, yeah. I said, well, let's talk about it. Had a great conversation.
That's wild. Talk about synchronicities, man.
Right?
For real.
What's going on with you, Snoop?
Well,
how you been, brother?
Bro, working like a madman, but I love it. Since I moved up here, I just moved to North Carolina in January. So I finally, you guys have already heard that I found a job, but I'm actually like working now, and I have to be at work at 4:45. So I can still listen to the show live, but I can't interact at all. And Walter knows exactly what truck I'm driving. It's the same truck he was white knuckling up and down the mountains on the way to take his family over to Oregon. I drive a 26-foot Penske truck every day.
Yeah.
I love that truck, first of all. But we have a dash cam in the truck, and we use a GPS-enabled app to track us. So we have like a safety score that we have to maintain. And I literally cannot touch my phone. Like, my phone has to stay mounted in the cup holder or on the dashboard in like the cradle.
Yep.
So I can't chat or anything, but I can still listen live. But I didn't have to work this morning, so I figured I'd call in and say what's up. But I did have two quick things I wanted to say real quick. Quick. Sorry, my brain's still not awake yet.
Take your time.
So to backtrack a little bit to talking about the Tesla in space, so I play on whenever nobody's live and I have some downtime. I still play on YouTube, but I watch shorts. I just sit there and scroll through shorts a little bit.
I do that quite a bit too.
Well, has anybody ever come across, it's these two Asian kids, they're Asian American, they're probably from like Cali or something, but they have a podcast and they post little clips from their podcast on their shorts all the time. And it's like they're probably over 21, but they look young. But they always talk about little conspiracy shorts. Well, the other day I was scrolling and I found one. They were talking about the Tesla in space. And these guys, I don't think they've ever even broached flat Earth. They've only talked about like the more mainstream conspiracies, and like they talk about the Mandela effect a lot and stuff like that. But excuse me. Do y'all remember how the original broadcast was, and then Jaron showed how SpaceX was able to go back and edit their live broadcast and still have it posted as live broadcast unedited? So remember the whole thing that they edited out was that glitch where it showed the Tesla in a studio. The background glitched out and you could see that they were in a studio.
I have those pictures on my computer.
All right, so these two kids, instead of taking that for what it is and saying, hey, look, that's proof that Tesla didn't send a car into space, they're out there saying, hey, look, that's proof that we live in a simulation and that the simulation glitched out while the Tesla was in space.
Good Lord.
Right? I just thought that was so ridiculous to make that jump, like, silly.
Yeah,
but anyways,
we're in a simulation because somebody's trying to fake us out and they got caught.
Right, exactly. Oh, no, that's proof of the simulation. That car's really in space. It just broke the simulation for a few seconds. But and then the other thing that I had, so when I was still in Florida, and even a little bit when I moved up here, I would talk to you guys about seeing the lights in the sky, like not airplanes, but like super high altitude. They look like stars and they just move straight lines through the sky. Well, I hadn't seen those since I've been up here, and I'm still awake at the same times. I'm still outside looking at the sky at the same time, 4 in the morning on till the sun comes up at least. And I haven't seen them at all. Well, the other night, me and my fiance were walking the dogs, and it was like 9:30, and I just happened to be looking up. I saw 6 lights at the same time, like all going different directions and all different brightnesses, which made me think they were probably different altitudes, but just the same little steady balls of light just moving through the sky nice and slow. And it made me think of how, like, when Mark Sargent used to talk about the lights and using night vision binoculars to see them and stuff, and just watching them, and he always equated it to like the maintenance crew of this place, like checking things out, the way that I saw them, it was like literally the exact same lights. Everything looked the exact same as it used to when I was in Florida. The only difference was the time. This was at 9 o'clock at night, not 4 or 5 in the morning. And it made me like kind of wonder, like, okay, is Mark onto something with that whole, not necessarily maintenance crew, but some kind of like Overwatch crew, and that they're just on a different schedule, 5 states further north.
If you go back and listen to, he interviewed a guy who was an air traffic controller for the dew line. You know what the dew line is?
Yeah, and he was saying he could see stuff coming in and out from the north, right?
From the North Pole constantly. They know about them. They can't catch them. They can't tell where they know they go from the North Pole out. And they go so fast that no plane can keep up with them. They're traveling at crazy speeds, banking at crazy directions and vectors. And yeah, there's no military aircraft that can even do anything. So all they do is watch them. That's all they can do, is watch these things. They know they're there. They know that they come into our realm all the time and it's not from like the ground they're coming from up.
Yeah.
And they come down from like the North Pole area and out into our world. Yeah. And I think Mark could be onto something, they're the maintenance crew, keeping things, this is a huge machine structure, living machine that we're in. And of course it's going to take maintenance. Everything does.
I think it's a clock.
We're just living on God's wrist.
Not necessarily on God's wrist,
I
but
know. Yeah.
To me, it just seems like a clock system.
Is.
Everything, and like it trips me out when you make that reference and people are like, "Oh, how could it be a clock?" and like poo-poo different ideas. But it's like, have you ever pulled apart? Zach, I know you have, or at least you've watched people do it. But like, if you ever watch somebody take apart and clean like a pocket watch, the amount of gears and cogs and turns and bops and boops, and it's crazy. And just to make 3 hands go around in a certain time frame, like, it's insane. So to think that we could figure out this place that easily, like, and exactly what you were about to say, like, now add in a sun, moon, stars, a tide system, a heat system, everything. There's no telling what's going on underneath us or above us, for that matter.
Yeah, pocket watches are so complex that this is one of the few things I'm scared to take apart. Completely.
And by the way, there's lots of water, man. Come on. You didn't
Oh yeah, tons of water.
You didn't hear?
Nothing but water.
But yeah, those pocket
Just
watches.
hearing you talking about taking that watch apart makes me go, oh.
Yeah, the thought of it
man.
gives me anxiety.
Right.
Spring pops out, you try to catch it, and it all just crumbles apart in your hand into a million different
Right.
pieces.
Then
Like,
everybody
oops!
starts having bad dreams, and there's a little dog guy, and no, nobody,
No.
nobody. Come on, man.
No, what?
It was
movie?
a really rare movie. It was like an animated movie that George Lucas, believe it or not, did back in the day, called Twice Upon a Time. Good luck finding it. I had to hunt down a VHS and kept it like under lock and key for years because it was rare and hard to find.
Let's see if I can find it.
I might have to see if I can hunt one of those down. It sounds familiar.
Come on, Twice Upon Time. Okay. See how well my site works.
Hey, Walt, if you still have it on VHS, man, you got to convert it to digital and distribute it.
And distribute it. You know,
Yeah.
I probably still have it. I'm looking at a box of VHS I moved over there in the corner that the cat has now moved into just to give her more room. So, yeah, it's most likely right there or somewhere close by.
You could be the new pirated website, walt123.mov.
Well, it is not in Putlocker.
Wow.
Yeah, it is one of the hardest to find movies ever. And the version that's on the VHS isn't letterbox. You couldn't get a letterbox. It's something else. Something about. There was a scene apparently they took out for that release that was in the original theater version that you couldn't get. I don't know. Blah 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 blah. Just really one of those weird things back in the day. I'm trying to see. Yeah, no, I'm not finding anything else about it either.
That's crazy.
How slow even a Friday is where I'm at. Like right now, this is like maybe it's like because it's spring break or it's the day before spring break, but this is a slow morning.
I heard all the spring breakers aren't supposed to be going down to Mexico, and they were all up in arms about it.
About what?
Did you hear anything about that?
No.
They were saying that traveling to Mexico is dangerous, this and that, and they were not restricting people, but like really telling people that you're not supposed to go. I know there's a bunch of college students up in arms about it. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I got a little flashback for you guys, actually, since there's not always somebody live like there used to be. And, you know, I've told you guys this in the past. I go back and I watch old episodes of Strange World or old IRM hangouts and stuff like that while I'm driving. So the other day, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, I was at a stop and I was looking for something to watch quick. And I found a 6-hour hangout from the Iron Realm. And it's one that it had the little red bar on the bottom of it. Like I had watched some of it already. So I was like, yeah, I'll finish watching that. So like I said, it was about 6 years ago, according to YouTube.
Right.
And
sounds about right.
Yeah, right. For those 6-hour episodes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So about, I think it was like 20 or 30 minutes into the hangout, this guy got on and Walt like instantly called him out for his fake accent. I'm going to see if y'all remember who I'm talking about before I get to the point. But Walt was like, hey, bud, I'm from the South, man.
Right. Yeah.
I know that's
I
not
remember
right.
that well. Yep.
And this dude was talking about flat Earth is racist because Europe's in the middle. And everybody was like, wait a minute, what map are you looking at?
Right.
And then all of a sudden it turned into snow is racist because it's white.
Yeah, I do remember that idiot.
Oh, man. But I actually listened to that whole episode.
Oh,
which
you
was
did take a flashback,
long.
man. That's crazy.
Yeah, for real. it was the same episode this guy got on, and he was really calm, cool, and collect, but he just wasn't having anything y'all were trying to say. And it ended up being like a 4.5 hour conversation with this dude just talking about, I mean, basically just using circular logic to try and debunk flat Earth. And he was just, every time somebody would say something about a plane or anything, he'd be like, well, that's not how it works to my understanding. And one of the guys on the panel that day was a pilot. And he was like, well, I'm telling you as a pilot, like I've got thousands of hours of flight experience. This is how it works. And he's like, well, that's not what mainstream says. And he's like, I don't care what mainstream says. I've been in the air doing this. Like, y'all were talking about the space shuttle not being a glider and stuff like that. And he was like, well, it's gliding from such high altitudes. It doesn't need the long glider wings and silliness. But I love listening to old stuff like that.
Yeah, there's some real
Is that
hidden
the same
gems.
episode where the guy got on eating Cheetos with the red wig on or something? Man, I'm really starting to remember a lot of crazy shit we dealt with back in the early days.
No, but I think it was fairly close to that because I've seen that one too.
Oh my God.
It was.
I'm gonna go back and listen to some old IRM.
They're good. I do it all the time. Either old IRM. The only problem I have listening to the older IRM is you can tell that everybody on the panel is like still trying to figure out all the little audio quirks and stuff that come along.
Yeah.
Because Josh was like super hot and like almost so hot he was like breaking up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then Walt, I could barely hear you. You were just so soft.
That was probably some of those early days when I was still using the earbud on a phone.
I think you were, because you kept telling Josh, like, hey, if you need me to take over, just let me know and I'll get on the computer. And
oh
you
my
were like,
God,
oh, I'm out
I
and
can
about
remember
right now.
those days. Oh, wow.
You're like, I'm keeping myself muted. I'm out and about right now.
All I hear is John Savage's, everybody cuts you out. You need to be louder. Every time anybody talks to you, they cut over you and talk over you. You need to boost your microphone. All right, then.
Oh, my God.
Okay, boss.
The good old days.
The good old days.
Just think, one day somebody's going to go back and listen to these episodes like that. The next generation of flat earthers are going to be like, oh my God, listen to what these idiots are talking about.
Hey, Josh, you got to give us at least one Savage!
You know, I've got to dig it up. Let me see if I can't find it.
Yeah, it's been a while.
John.
Savage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a couple months since I've spoken with Savage. I'm going to have to get a hold of him. Yeah, things are doing across the pond. I hear things are crazy over in France. We're not hearing anything about it. Somewhere else. Oh, Israel. There's supposedly 1 million people protesting in Israel or something like that. Some crazy amount of people.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything about that on the news?
I have. Yeah. About he's trying to restructure the court system or something. I forget exactly what was going on in Israel that had the Jewish community so pissed off, but I think that's what it was. Was it? Who's that?
Well, I know
Netanyahu.
Yeah. In France, they're restructuring the age limit for retirement, adding years. And these people are like, well, no, you're not.
Hey, I don't know if it's anything to do with what just mentioned about Israel, but one of my spiritual channels that I watch said that there's supposed to be these this new law or a couple of new laws or whatever that Christian evangelism in Israel is going to be like against the law, death penalty kind of shit. So I don't know if it's like that.
Wow. Going ancient Roman on these people over there, huh? Outlawing Christianity in Israel.
Yeah, they made their video was called "A Warning to Christians," and they're like, "We're just letting you guys know that something's going on in Israel. They're trying to pass these laws for prohibiting proselytization."
Yeah,
Does anybody ever wonder if stuff like that is meant to kind of, so like, biblically speaking, you know how it talks about like the end time being once every man knows the word, then that's like one of the signs that it's all about to be over. And then whenever somebody tries to outlaw something, the first thing that happens is it's like that's what people want to partake in now, regardless of what it is. And you've got places like China where China's like that. Like, you can go to jail for being a Christian. You're not allowed to have your own belief system in China. But yet Christianity is like one of the biggest religions in China. So like that, like, I don't know how to word it exactly. Like almost trying to make that happen by outlawing it and doing extreme things to make people look more at it like, oh, this is the truth, because they're trying to silence it, but in reality they're trying to quote unquote silence it to get it out there harder.
Yeah, it's a great way to use propaganda.
Right.
It's the same with it's like a false flag on a massive scale.
Like the biggest proponent for Jewish culture was Adolf Hitler.
Right.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a great way to promote something is to attack it. Because then you get people
that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, you get people to then defend it for you.
Right.
Hey, I got a question for everyone, because I don't watch the news or TV or anything like that. So I get my news basically from podcasts, that kind of thing. And I just recently heard that apparently Donald Trump was arrested. Is that even true?
I heard he was indicted. I don't know how true that is either, but
yeah, I've heard some rumblings that there is no case, blah 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 blah, and other people saying
these are the days of your lives as the world turns in General Hospital.
Yeah. And then I've heard from the other side that he's going for sure and blah, 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 and Trump is done and over. So, yeah, it's just part of the game, the show. I mean, how many politicians that have gotten to, I only know of one governor who's been imprisoned. That was Rob Blagojevich out of Illinois. He's the only one in my lifetime that I can actually remember. I'm sure there's been more, but he's the only one I can remember off the top of my head that was actually put into a prison for doing things. And it was because he was going to leave governor and he tried selling his governorship or something like that. It was something weird like that. But no, how many of these people ever get held accountable for anything they do? Hillary Clinton is now teaching at Columbia University about handling foreign conflicts. Yeah, because she did so great in Benghazi and Syria and all these other Afghanistan. She did wonderful over there, right, as the head of state.
What?
Yeah, she's teaching a class at Columbia University. It's ridiculous.
That woman's got to have the highest body count in politics.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy. It is just insanity.
There was just a suicide within the past month or two, and all the conspiracy channels were saying that it was a Hillary suicided, not an actual suicide. I can't remember who it was or what it was about, but it was just like, oh, yep, they add another body to her list.
Well, yeah, when big comedians have made jokes about this stuff, and you've heard it all over. This isn't just YouTube people saying this. This is out there. People know
when
about
mainstream comedians are coming out and joking about it. That's when it's like, that's not a conspiracy anymore. They're making those jokes so that people kind of. I feel like that's almost scripted so that people it's like they're
Yeah, you turn it into humor.
right. Well, it's kind of like that not necessarily plausible deniability, but like it's that karmic law that we all think that they have to agree to. Like they got to kind of tell us what they're doing, so they're like, hey, let's just let the comedians make
Right.
fun of it, and everybody else will be like, oh, that's just a silly joke from Woody Harrelson or whoever it is, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of Woody Harrelson, great movie called The Champions. Go check it out. He is a Special Olympics basketball coach.
I actually watched that yesterday. It's pretty good.
I laughed out loud a few times. I even cried. Not gonna lie, I'm one of those guys that can cry from a commercial if it hits me.
I'm the same way, and when people tell me that they cried during something, I usually won't watch it.
Oh, it wasn't sad cry. It was
right.
Oh.
You sound like me.
They were tears of joy. I was laughing so hard at some point.
I'm like such an emotionally charged person. Anytime something like I can't do it. It almost like makes me mad that something fake can get me so emotionally charged like that. And I would assume being what you said it was about, it's probably based on some kind of true story, I would imagine. But no.
Well, here's
I
what
don't think so.
Always messed me up is I assumed ADHD, like the hyperactivity, was always about sort of energy levels, and you're just sort of hyperactive. Your activity levels are high. They're not just high activity; they're hyper activity levels. But the hyperness can also come in emotional states. The ADHD also refers to the hyper emotional state of being, which I thought was really interesting. Which is, I think, is how it presents in me a lot too. Is that hyper?
That's how it presents in me for sure.
I can't turn that off when things get serious, and there's that like fight or flight kind of jumps in. That part of me goes away. I don't know how it happens, but yeah, I'm a very empathetic person and I get very emotional. But when things get serious and there's like danger afoot, it's weird. I just snap into this like animal instinct where there is no emotion anymore. Everything is, taking in data and assessing the situation. It's weird how it works, how your emotions, when you're put into that like fight or flight, all that stuff goes away. There is no emotion. There is no empathy. It's weird.
I dealt with that in combat quite a few times, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know that this is not the time for emotion. This is the time for action. And your mind just knows that. It's weird.
See, I think that's the problem, is that my spirit has always been that the way you're talking about right now, like this is a time for action. And because of that, when I'm in an actionless state, like when I'm watching a movie or when I'm reading a book or something, that's why I get so emotionally charged, is because I know that it's not real. I know that I don't need to jump up and either run away or be prepared to fight. So I get like overwhelmed with the emotion that's trying to be presented through the movie, like whether it's meant to be like a tearjerker or to get you, not necessarily to get you angry, but like one of those movies where you have that situation where you're like, oh, I could have dealt with that like this instead, like.
Interesting. I like that, man. I like that the way of looking at it.
Well, I went and
I am
saw.
also that person that'll cry at a commercial. Good Lord.
Yeah, it doesn't take much for me, especially ever since I had my son. Anything that has to do with kids, I have to turn it off, because I get super emotional when it comes to children, even positive stuff, even like seeing good parenting makes me want to cry. Like,
right, and I was going to get to that too. It doesn't have to be a sad, upsetting thing.
No.
Like I could be showing someone else's artwork or music, and when I see them appreciate it, it overcomes me, and I'm just,
I gotta go. I'll be back. I gotta go. Like I have a hard time. So just like I would imagine all of y'all, I don't stand by or support anything that the government does. but I 100% support our troops and our vets. And whenever I see guys in the grocery store with their Vietnam vet hat on or anything, I always try and thank them. But I get so emotionally charged from that the only thing I can do is say thank you for your service, and I have to walk away because I feel like I'm about to burst into tears. Like, just thinking about it right now gets me emotionally charged. Like,
Be very, very careful with that, because I'm a
Oh,
veteran.
I
A lot
know.
of guys don't like that. A lot of vets don't want to hear thank you for your service. I've
I
been
know.
told
I
that
try
by
and do it to the
numerous
old guys.
Yeah, I usually just give them the nod. You know,
Yeah. Well,
Yep,
I
you're
specifically
appreciated.
try and do it to, like, when I see the old guy that you can tell he's just not necessarily having a rough life, but might be having a rough day, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He's just old. Like, and not only are you old and I want to help you because you're old and you look like you're about to have a heart attack trying to lift up a 10-pound bag of dog food, but on top of that, you're wearing a Vietnam vet hat. And I had 3 uncles that were in Vietnam. Like, so for me, and I know how emotional they get. Like, I've heard stories that was like emotionally one of the worst wars we've been involved in.
No, Zombie, what I'm getting at, okay, and I'm a veteran. 6 years combat veteran, worked at the VA. I've met thousands and thousands of veterans. And the point I'm getting at is the veterans that are actively going out in public wearing a Vietnam veteran hat, they're the ones that are seeking attention. So go ahead. Yeah, say thank you to them. But
Right.
if there's another veteran that is not doing that, they're not trying to seek attention for what they did. The service that they had.
If they're not pronouncing it some way, then I have no clue that they're a vet, and I'm not going to stop and thank them for their services. It's the guys with, like, the sticker on the back of their motorcycle helmet, or the sticker in the back windshield, or the Vietnam vet hat, or just a POW MIA hat. Like, because I have no problem going up and talking to people, especially older people. I connect really well with old people, or I shouldn't say old, but older. So, when I see those guys, and, if I'm holding the door open for them or something like that, like, I'll be like, oh, did you serve? And they're always like, yeah, however long, whatever. They always say whatever their spiel is. And I'm like, thanks for your service. I appreciate what you did for us. Stuff like that. But I'm not out there, like, looking for vets to be like, oh, thanks for what you did. Oh, thanks for what you did. I appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
you think
gotta
some of the
understand, too,
guys
some veterans actually worked, like, in the post office, and then they wear the Vietnam veteran hat. They served in that time. So there's a lot of veterans that are just completely fucking bullshit.
And there's a lot of people that aren't actually veterans that are out there looking for
that's stolen
valor.
value. That's what worries me. I don't want to go up to some guy wearing a Vietnam hat that wasn't a vet and be like, hey, thanks for your service. And they're like, oh, I appreciate that. I was over there for 19 months, like, whatever the case is. Like, and then
I was a
come to find
Navy
out they weren't.
SEAL. I
Right.
was part of the Untouchables, or the Expendables. That's what they called us. I've heard it so many different stories from all these people saying they served in this and that and never were in the military. This one girl just got caught wearing Purple Hearts and accepting all kinds of money and benefits from
Yeah,
some
that
charity.
shit gets me heated.
Ooh, I think they actually gave her time. They gave her a significant amount of time for this. And I think everybody should. If you're going out there and wearing a uniform that you never earned, it's not just an article of clothing. I'm sorry. I know people say that, oh, it's just a shirt. No. That was a uniform given to somebody who went and did things that you have no idea what they went through. No idea. And the things that some of these people have seen and that they think about every single day of their lives. Every day. If they're lucky, they get days where they don't have these thoughts.
That's how I feel. One of my uncles is he has, like, the most wartime out of my family, and, like, I didn't even know that until probably 10 or 12 years ago, and it totally makes sense with how he acts just in general now. And I
Mhm.
get it. And I can see like I used to live with him. And when I was a teenager, I lived and worked with him in Miami for like a little less than a year. And if I would like go outside at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning to smoke a cigarette or something, he would always like wander out there and make sure I was okay. And like now, knowing what I know, now I understand why it was so easy for him to get up like that, just for me opening the door. Like I have never talked about any of his war stories with him or anything, but I know he's seen the worst of it out of my family, at least.
Yeah, I mean, you can just go back and look at the pictures of before and after war.
How stressed these guys look, how much their
Yes.
face changes in
They
2 to
age
4 years.
yeah, like 20, 30 years in a matter of just a couple years.
Yeah.
They're not the same person as when they went in there.
That's the picture that I have in my mind when you said that. There's a picture of I think it was a World War I vet, and it was the day he enlisted, and he's all like smiles and his fresh buzz cut and the little flat top do. And then the next picture is like 18 months later or something, and you would swear it's been 35 years.
Yeah.
Like he just looks, I don't even know how to describe it, just distraught. Like everything about him's been destroyed. He's been completely broken down. His face is sagging. His eyes are, yeah. That shit. That's
If you guys ever want to hear
what
some
gets me
detailed
about it.
like stories about what war really is, I can tell you. I mean, I was deployed to Iraq 3 times. So
Jeez. See, that shit's crazy to me. And also that we could get some gasoline.
yeah, that's not something I want to try and end this on. But
Yeah, no.
instead, I think it would be fun to ask everybody who's actually going to Las Vegas in October.
I really want to. I still got to talk to my fiance about it and see if I can hustle her into a trip to Vegas. But I really want to. For one, I've never been out to Vegas, and for two, I've wanted to go to a Flattoberfest every year since the first one, and I haven't been yet.
Yeah, I'd like to drive to Vegas. I want to drive through the desert.
I'll fly out there and ride with you while you're driving through the desert.
Yeah,
Dude, driving cross country is amazing.
Oh, I love it. I've done it a few times now.
Not with a 3-year-old.
Yeah, that's a little different. Yeah, I just had me and Hank, and we were doing only like 50 to 70 miles a day. We'd find a camp spot by like noon, and then go walk around out in the state and national parks for a few hours, and then do it all again the next day. Set up and took down that tent so many times.
So I got one more positive thing real quick before we get out of here. So when, you know how we all like to jump on Fortnite, well, Nemo jumps on with us a lot. And whenever me and my little nephew are playing, Nemo will come play with us and we'll do trios. Or if one of Nemo's buddies are online, we'll do a squad or whatever. So the other night we were playing and Nemo was about to get off and we were in the lobby and he was talking about some exciting news that might be happening here at the Iron Room. And he was just telling us whatever Josh was telling him about it. And, you know, me and Nemo talked about it for a minute. And then he was like, all right, I'm going to get out of here, guys. And as soon as he got off, my little nephew was like, what are you guys talking about? Like, y'all are always talking about this, like, show or whatever. What are y'all talking about? And nobody on my fiance's side of the family knows that I'm into conspiracies, let alone a flat earther, except for my fiance. And so I didn't want to tell him. I didn't want to just come out and tell him, but he's seen me play. Zach, I'm pretty sure you've played with us at least once, but you know how it'll tell you who people are playing with when you get online? So he's seen me playing with Iron Realm Media and with Flat Earth Head and with Good Times for All. And I was like, well, you know how you've seen me play with Iron Realm? I said, that's Josh. That's the host of the show. And, you know, it's just a group of guys that just talk. And he was like, well, what do y'all talk about? And I was like, you know, some truths and some conspiracies and just guys venting about being guys. Like, because I don't want to just come out and say it. And he was like, well, that sounds kind of interesting. Can you send me one? And I was like, yeah, I'll find one to send you. So if anybody's got a favorite episode or a memorable episode from the last year, let me know so that I can send him a link, because I haven't had time to just go back and find like a great episode, but I don't want it to be like an episode where we're just bullshitting. I'd rather it be an episode where there's a good conversation. Right.
I'll
So if
dig back and
anybody
see what I
thinks
can
of an
figure
episode,
out.
let me know.
That's awesome, man.
Because I'd love it. Because so a few years ago, this show came out on Netflix called The Floor is Lava. And in one episode, it was like a spacey episode, and they had 2 Earths as obstacles to jump to. And they had a round ball Earth and a flat Earth. And he saw the flat Earth and he was like, oh my God, a flat Earth. And just started laughing hysterically. He was only like 13 at the time, like 12 or 13. And he thought it was the funniest thing ever. And it took so much for me to not start talking about it to him, because I just wanted to be like, what do you know about flat Earth? Like, what have you heard? Because he's that generation. Like, the internet is more important than TV to kids, you know? So I know he's come across it. I just don't know where he is on it. But he's super smart. He's very science oriented, but he's pretty open-minded too. So I'd like to have a good episode to bring him into to see where he stands on it, what his thoughts are about it.
Ian in chat has a good idea. It doesn't relate to flat Earth too much, but the Jerry Marzinski episode.
That's actually a perfect one. Jerry Marzinski is the guy that with the schizophrenic guy. Yes, that would be a perfect one. Actually, I'll have to go back and find that one and send it to him, because those episodes that he was
How
on.
old is your nephew though? How old?
He's 15 now.
Oh yeah, he can probably handle. I don't know. That's a little heavy duty, but be ready to help him through it. Yeah, help him through it though.
I'm not super worried about stuff like that with him, because his mom and his grandmother are both very spiritual in the way of like the crystals and the spirits and stuff like that. So he's very intelligent. He's got his own thought process on things, but he's, because of how his mom and his grandmother are, he's very open to outside stuff too. He'll hear it out before he shits on it. So the Jerry Marzinski episodes might be perfect.
Yeah, definitely don't send him back to some of those 6-hour ones.
No. I was actually trying to find one that I called in on, but whenever I call him, we just bullshit for a little while. So
I could probably find one if I dig too there. Well, we're about to have to get out of here. Before we do, I just want to remind everybody that we will be here this afternoon, and we will have a guest. It will be our new friend from the channel, better known as Wrong Think. If you haven't checked it out, I'm going to drop that link here in just a second. I've got got too much going on here. I've got a lot of stuff I'm trying to drop. I may have already dropped some, and I'm going to drop more. Okay, 2 things. I found a video yesterday. I don't want to show it because last time I showed a video that was really great, it got our whole channel taken down and all that crap. So I'm just going to drop the link here for you guys. Go watch this and enjoy. And when they get to the point where they're doing the speech about the situation, the guy on TV, watch his face very carefully. Whoever made this video is definitely on top of shit. It's called Beyond the Reset. I will drop it now. I've got too many things going. The other thing I wanted to drop and let you know about as well there, because we were talking about being touched to tears. I watched a video yesterday, a guitar player, and dude, literally brought me to tears. Guy on the videos broke down into tears. Yeah, I'm going to drop it here. Andy Timmons, if you're not familiar, you should be. Amazing, emotional guy on the guitar. So Other than that, I'm going to shut up and let you guys say goodbye. Thank you for being here, Andrew. Thank you for hopping in, Zal. We appreciate the hell out of it. Travis, I know you're still here real quick.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
Oh, great. Now the shit works.
Now TFR.
Guess that's for you, bro. Love you guys. We'll see you tonight. Be good. Be well. Bye-bye.
Damn it. I wanted to let